Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and as you can tell from the title of today's video, we are finally at that session. The final leg session of this competition prep. Well, of this show's competition prep. So this is my prep for the UK, DFB and Northern that I've been preparing for the past 25 or so weeks now. The reason why this came about is because I put a story on my Instagram asking people would they like us to record my final session and basically talk you guys through it, and I think 99% of people said yes, so this is it, this is what I'm doing. In no way am I saying that my leg sessions are the best or this is like the ultimate leg session ever. Like, if you don't do this leg session, your legs aren't going to grow. This is just my personal favorite leg session. It's high volume, it's killer every single time I do it. I just love pushing myself through it because it's just one of them sessions that you really can push and you just feel absolutely fucked afterwards. So I thought, why not share it with everyone, and hopefully you can give it a go as well. You might end up not liking it, you might end up preferring it to your sessions, so let us know down below what you personally think, but we're going to jump right into it. So starting off every single leg session, I always roll out, band work and stretch. Now this is something I neglected for way too long. I was just lazy, to be honest, out of complete and utter laziness. I'd never ever stretch before training, ever. I'd never use bands and I'd never roll out. And ever since I started doing all those things, my training has drastically increased. It's so much, everything like feels better. I always feel like I get better activation in my glutes, in my hamstrings, especially after rolling them out. And if you don't roll out before you work out, honestly, invest in a foam roller. The cost next to nothing. The gym I train at Viking, they actually store them like at the gym, so you can just use them there, but I take me on anyways. And a resistance band, I think mine costs like a pack of resistance bands costs us like a tenner. Like the Nout, and just warming up your rotator cuffs, which sounds stupid, but warming up your rotator cuffs before legs for that mobility when squatting, and warming up the hips, warming up your glutes, warming up your hamstrings, warming up your quads by just rolling them out and just doing a couple of sissy squats, no weight or anything like that. Just get the legs moving, get everything warmed up, because if you don't, you are at a very high risk of hurting yourself, especially if you're lifting heavy on that day. Next, after warming up with some stretching and some rolling out, I move on to the adductors and abductors machine. Now, these are the machines that you never ever see guys doing, and it's always because people just think that they're the women's machine, like they're the machine for girls for to get that thigh gap or whatever it is. But honestly, like, I religiously use these machines before training legs, and that's because it gets me hips warmed up, it gets me glutes warmed up, and it gets everything firing properly. It gets that nice squeeze going before you start really hammering them compounds, and it allows you to, when you, like, if I go into a heavy squat and I haven't used these machines before warming up, I'll find that the squat just feels so uncomfortable because I'm really not focusing on the lift. I'm just kind of falling into it instead of being able to feel my glutes and hamstrings and everything firing in and out of the hole. So 100%, I do 5 sets on each, 10 reps, 10 to 12 reps, just really light work, getting everything moving, get the hips warmed up, get your glutes warmed up, and just really just stretch everything out. So this is the second round of my warm-ups. Third round of warm-ups, moving on, is leg extensions. Now, the reason why I do leg extensions is because I get quite bad knees if I don't warm them up properly. It's something that I suffer from a lot more in prep, just because obviously food's low, you generally just feel a little bit more achy. Your lubrication on your joints isn't as good because your diet's more restricted. And because of that, I prefer warming up with a leg extension over anything else for my knees, apart from like doing a couple of squats like unweighted. But I do 4 sets of about 15 reps, very light weights, just getting the legs moving, getting the knees moving, waiting till your knees are like feeling red hot, and that's when I know I'm ready to squat. Before then, I'll not really I'll not do any compound work. I just don't feel safe. I don't feel like I can really execute the lift correctly, and that's just my personal opinion. If you don't do these already, if you don't do these things, I'd really recommend implementing them into your training. They make a hell of a difference. And honestly, like, once you start warming up and preparing for your lifts properly, you'll not only notice that the activation for the muscles is a lot better, but the actual lift itself, you'll find you perform a lot more effectively. So you can actually, I can always put more weight on the bar when I warm up right over when I don't, because you feel uncomfortable in the hole, you feel uncomfortable like in the lift if you haven't warmed up properly. Moving on to the first working exercise of the day, which is reverse hack squat. Now the hack squat in Viking gym where I'm training the day is a bit different to like a traditional hack squat, which is on like a slider, like you slide up and down it. This one you it's like a vertical squat type hack squat. Fantastic machine, I really like it. I feel like I get a better placement on this machine over like the hack squat at Powerhouse. I think it's just because it comes down instead of slides on like a solid point. You can really like adjust where your feet are, and you feel a bit more comfortable. You don't feel like you're working around the machine instead of like the machine working around you, if that makes any sense. This is the first exercise, yes, but it is also the killer of the workout. So the way I run this is I start with a light weight. I do one warm-up set, which is usually about 15 kilos on each side. I then work up to my first working weight, which is about 25 kilos a side. I do 15 reps at this. I then add another 10 plate on and do 12 reps. So this is pyramid style. Drop down to 10 reps, add another half a plate. Then drop down to 8 reps, another half a plate. And then I drop down to 6 reps and I actually added a full plate on top. Can't remember how much I got up to now, but yeah, absolute killer. And then just after finishing me 6 reps and me top set, I'll strip a plate off, AMRAP it, so that's as many reps as possible. Just rep them out until you can't get it back up. Take another half plate off, go again, take another plate off. By that point you should be absolutely fucked, and I mean fucked. Like, the whole point in these last drop sets is you're going until you can't go anymore. So if you're not fucked, you haven't done them properly. After doing that, I then turn around and do traditional style hack squats. So that's with me back against the pad. I just do a standard 4 sets of 12 for these. I prefer doing these more narrow footed over the reverse hack squat the way I was doing them. And that's just more for more quad activation, for like your teardrop side of your quad. I just feel like I get a lot better mind muscle connection doing them the traditional way with me back on the pad, where I can really focus on driving my feet together. Over when I'm reverse, I have to stand quite wide to get good stability, and that's the only reason I do that. Moving on from that, we'll go on to the leg press. Leg press at Viking gym is absolutely sick. It's like, you don't have to put much on and it feels heavy as fuck, which is exactly what you want for a leg press. For the leg press, we're doing another 4 sets of 12, working up pyramid style, just like the hack squat was. So I can't remember how much I done. I think I done like 3 plates, 4 plates, 5 plates, and then ended on about 6 plates. I can't remember now off the top of my head. But yes, working up, so 12 reps, 15 reps, 12 reps, 10 reps, 8 reps. And then we ended up actually doing a ridiculously killer drop set. So AMRAP again, as many reps as possible. And Dylan was spotting us on these, and we just stripped it. We just went until it was stripped. So say we had 6 plates on, drop to 5, drop to 4, drop to 3, drop to 2, and then drop to the last one, and just go until literally Dylan was helping us lift the last couple out. And by this point I was wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. I literally couldn't even stand. I was in that much pain, but it felt so good. I prefer doing my leg press with my feet about shoulder width apart, higher up on the pad. That's simply because I prefer to use the leg press after doing more quad dominant stuff on the hack squat for my hamstrings. So the higher your feet, the more hamstrings; the lower your feet, the more quad. And I have me feet shoulder width apart. I get good drive from about there, so yeah, shoulder width apart, high up on the pad. Moving on, we then went on to standing hamstring curls. So no, I don't know if many gyms have these. Sometimes I do. You can do them on a seated hamstring curl as well. I prefer the standing. A lot of the seated machines, I just don't get the right contraction. I don't feel like I get as good of a contraction as I do with the standing. So yeah, we've done 4 sets of 12, simple, weight's all the same. 4 sets of 12, standing hamstring curl, really squeezing at the top, extending to the full length down before coming all the way back up and squeezing again. Perfect for hamstring development. Something that I really neglect, or used to neglect in my training, was hamstrings, and now that I'm hammering them, I love this machine for hamstrings. I feel like out of everything that I do for my hamstrings, the standing hamstring curl is actually my favourite for contraction and getting the best feel out of a machine for that muscle group. We then moved on to line hamstring curls to finish the hamstrings off. Another 4 sets of 12, but we've done a drop set at the end of this, just a standard drop set. So I done same weight, 4 sets of 12, really squeezing at the top, slowing the reps down on the eccentric, and then firing them back up and squeezing at the top, and then just dropped it half the weight for a drop set, and we went AMRAP again. So I just went and went and went until I couldn't get the pad up anymore, and that was legs technically finished. But at the end of all my legs days, I always do a bit of calves. I normally do more calf stuff on my eccentric leg days, but I always do hit a bit of calves at the end of my traditional leg days, like today. So today we decided to do seated calf raises. I think I've done about a plate and a bit for seated calf raises. I've done 5 sets of 15. Really squeezing at the top. And remember, when you're going all the way down, to fully extend the calf, fully flex at the angle and squeeze all the way back up, get the full range of movement. None of this half inch fucking bouncing bullshit. Fully extend the angle, fully extend the calf, I mean, fully flex the angle and all the way squeeze at the top. Best thing for calves is high volume, in my opinion. Loads, as much weight as you can get on, but high volume. I know a lot of people struggle with calf development. Most of the time they're neglecting it. A lot of people will neglect calves and then whinge they don't have any. But high volume calf training, in my opinion, is what works better. I just feel like because it's such a small muscle group that gets neglected, and it's something that you're walking on all day, you really do have to hammer them to get a good amount of like work into them. You've got to think you're on your feet all day, you're constantly using your calves, you're walking upstairs, you're walking around, you're climbing on, like, for example, machines like I am every day. Like, you need to really hammer your calves if you want them to grow, because they will be stubborn because they're used to stress. They're getting stress all day. So yes, high volume for calves. Like I say, on my rest day I always do a little bit more standing calf raises as well on the Smith machine, and do really like them. And that's it. That is simply it, my leg program. It sounds like not a lot when you really break it down, but honestly, if you hit it exactly like I've just described it, you will be fucked by the time you get home, or by the time you get to your car, if you make it to your car. So yeah, I hope this, maybe you learned something from this, maybe it was something different, maybe you give it a shot. I'll leave the actual workout written down below in the description so you can screenshot it and give it a shot yourself. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. The next video is actually going to be my peak week video, which I am going to start filming tomorrow. I'm going to do the intro for that tomorrow. So yeah, I hope you are all looking forward to that, and then it's show day. So yeah, exciting times. But yes, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.